First, little myth buster for nutrition. This is one of my favorite topics. If you've been following me for a while, you might know my take on this, but I wanted to share my thoughts a little bit deeper as to why alcohol isn't necessarily a great choice, and to include it daily or even weekly as a frequency can lead to lack of gains, and not necessarily all gains, but it will eventually become your limiter. And so, just as anything else, we need to lie somewhere along the spectrum. Both ends are super radicalized. We have no alcohol consumption whatsoever, ever, even at any event. And for some people, that it isn't necessary because they were on the other side of the spectrum where all they did was drink alcohol like it was water, and now they need to avoid it because addiction is a real thing. So there's purpose for both those radicalizations, but I think they're placed in the very wrong context. And so what I'm here today is to share that context with you and just how much we can expect it to limit us based on our consumption levels. So we've all heard the saying, a glass of wine a day keeps the doctor away. That's kind of bullshit. The glass of wine a day alone will not keep the doctor away, one. And two, actually drinking alcohol has a lot of inflammatory effects on people's bodies. So if you think about inducing that inflammatory effect day after day after day and having that chronic inflammation, what that can do to the body and what that signals in our feedback loops in our body. So please, if you are consuming alcohol every single day, if it's every day, my suggestion is that you find someone who can support you in limiting that, if not eliminating it. There are lots of groups out there, and not going to call you an alcoholic, but there needs to be some sort of limiter in your life on this, because it's not healthy. You're going to cause your body chronic inflammation, chronic stress, and this will turn over into our mental health. So drinking every day, no good. All right. What about on the weekends? I don't drink at all in the week, and I drink maybe 5 to 7 drinks on the weekends with my friends. What does that average out to? You're still drinking one a day. And think about all of that inflammation you're causing at one point in time. Although it's not going to be chronic, you're still accumulating this chronically over weeks. So let's think months. Now you've had as many drinks in the month as there are days. And you can expect that that inflammation principle is still going to carry over. So I would say that if you're going out and you're binge drinking on the weekends like you're a college kid, again, maybe you need to revisit some of your lifestyle and find some other hobbies or some other things to do with friends. And if that's the way that your friends want to act, maybe it's time to change your environment. And I know this all might sound cruel and rude, but this is how we make change. Making these big changes means we need to make lots of little changes in our environment, the way we act, the things we do, and this all starts with being aware. So binge drinking on the weekends like you're a college kid, not going to cut it either. It is going to limit your gains. Plus, just think about, like, I haven't been drunk enough in forever to have it limit me the day after, but think about some of those days after. How productive you meant to be, or you said you were going to be the night before, or maybe even the day before, and think about how productive you actually were. Do those things actually get done? Because if they're not getting done, if you're chronically procrastinating because you have a shitty mood the next morning, or you haven't recovered, and that means you're going to start eating greasy food, which is going to decrease your motivation anyway and make you want to go back to sleep. You've probably stayed up late and thrown off your sleep cycle, which is going to change your mood drastically as well. So all of these things tie in and lead into this big picture called life. Don't drink every day, even if it's a glass of wine. Stop binge drinking on the weekends. So where can we settle on whether or not we can consume alcohol? Do you have celebrations every now and then? For sure. Is summer more of a time for you to consume alcohol? Yeah, maybe. So maybe you don't set a lot of your big, lofty goals in the summer. If you know that you have a lot of events in the summer, like 4th of July, you go to a lot of cookouts, there's a lot of beer, and you want to drink. That's fine. But let's be realistic about where we set our goals with these things. So, sure, occasionally at events, culturally, drinking, fantastic. I would support that as long as you're not doing it chronically and in a way that is equaling more drinks, I guess, in a month than there are days. Let's make sure that we are keeping this total consumption in moderation as well as frequency. And even less so, you have people on the other end of the spectrum who don't drink at all. And maybe these are recovering alcoholics. Maybe they are people who just choose to not drink alcohol because that's the lifestyle they choose to live. Now, I am on that end of the spectrum. I choose not to drink alcohol. I don't feel great physically after I consume it. I feel very inflamed, very demotivated. My body aches a little bit, and I know that I'm not getting the right nutrition. I'm missing meals because I'm sleeping in because I stayed up late. So all of these things start to cascade and trigger more stress, more inflammation, more cortisol, and these things are taking me even further and further away from my goal. So although it doesn't look like that immediately, we need to think about the cascading effects of all of our decisions and what those mean. So all in all, how much should you limit alcohol? My general suggestion is that you keep it to 1 to 2 drinks a week or 8 to 10 drinks a month, and make sure that you're not consuming every single day or binge drinking every weekend. And that will guarantee that you're going to make headway towards your goals. You're going to move that needle forward. If you want to move the needle forward faster, cutting alcohol out altogether has immense, immense benefits in every health aspect: blood pressure, heart rate, mood, physical ability, mental ability, mental stamina, all of these things, productivity. You're more productive on a Sunday when you don't drink than when you go out and drink on a Saturday night and you're out till 2 a.m. and you sleep till 8. Your routine starts way later. And if you don't have a routine, then well, kiss Sunday goodbye because you're probably in bed all morning. There's no reason to get out. So find what works for you. And if you don't feel the symptoms of being inflamed and whatnot, sure, those 8 to 10 drinks a month are great. Enjoy them with your friends. Enjoy that social time. I'm just going to choose people who also don't drink and to go do activities that don't involve alcohol. That's personal preference. Because I know that not consuming alcohol is going to get me to my goals faster. And when I stopped drinking alcohol, I had very, very much success, a lot of success in weight loss. When I stopped drinking, my success in weight loss went up tenfold. My ability to keep weight off was so much better. So I went through a few phases where I lost weight, put it back on. Lost weight, put it back on. I was binge drinking every weekend. I was right out of college. Stopped drinking, cleaned up my diet. There was a lot of lifestyle factors that went into it. Yes, I started walking more. I cleaned up my diet, but I stopped drinking. And stopping drinking has allowed me to continue all of this in the long term because I don't have weekends where I go out and blow my whole week. Long and the short, 1 to 2 a week, 5 to 10 a month. Keep it in moderation. If it's something that you think you can do away with, please just do away with it. There are other modes of mental escape that you can use. Smoke a joint. Smoke a bowl. Mushrooms if you're interested. but make sure that you get someone to help you and guide you in those if you haven't participated in them before. What's up, everyone? Did you find this information helpful? Subscribe to this page for updates. I'll be dropping a short video weekly on how to navigate the abundance of nutrition information out there. Follow me on Instagram at ambitious_strength_. Sign up for The Table. This is my ambitious nutrition group and inner circle that covers recipes, how to eat affordably, kicks myths to the curb, and talks about getting results while still staying healthy and living life.